Have you ever had a neighbor who seemed off? Maybe someone you never really saw but always felt their presence. What if I told you that sometimes the neighbors you can't see are the ones watching you the most? Tonight I have a terrifying story for you, a story of a man who moved into a new home only to realize he wasn't alone. The house had a secret, and the worst part, the previous owner never really left. Turn off your lights, put on your headphones, and prepare yourself. Because once you hear this story, you might never look at your own home the same way again. This is the unseen neighbor. Jack had been searching for a fresh start. After years of city life, he was desperate for peace and quiet. So, when he found a cozy yet affordable house in a small, seemingly perfect town, it felt like fate. The house sat at the end of a cul-de-sac, surrounded by trees. It had a warm, inviting look, quaint, with white shutters and a wraparound porch. It didn't matter that the price seemed too good. Jack wasn't one to ask questions. On move-in day, everything seemed normal. The neighbors were friendly, albeit a little distant. They greeted him but didn't linger. Something about their expressions made him uneasy, as if they wanted to say more but held back. That night, Jack sat in his new living room, sipping a beer, basking in the silence. No honking horns, no shouting, just the sound of the wind rustling the leaves outside. Then came the first gift. A small package, neatly wrapped in brown paper, sat on his doorstep the next morning. No name, no note, just a ribbon tied around it. Curious, Jack opened it. Inside was an old, rusted key. He turned it over in his hand. It was heavy, cold, and had strange markings etched into the metal. It looked ancient. Jack glanced around. No sign of who had left it. Shrugging it off as some local welcome tradition, he tossed the key on the kitchen counter and went about his day. But that night, something felt off. The first thing Jack noticed was the cold. Even with the heater running, the house felt icy, especially in the hallway leading to the basement. Then the noises started. A faint scratching. At first, he thought it was mice in the walls, but then the scratching turned into tapping. Rhythmic, deliberate. It was coming from inside the walls. Jack tried to ignore it. He turned on the TV, played some music, anything to drown out the noise. But as he lay in bed that night, he swore he heard something else. Footsteps, light, careful. Just outside his bedroom door, holding his breath, he listened. The sound stopped. Maybe it was his mind playing tricks on him. He was just getting used to the new house, after all. The next morning, another gift appeared. This time it was an old photograph. It showed a woman standing on his porch. She looked off. Something about her eyes. They seemed too dark, too hollow. On the back of the photo, someone had written in smudged ink, "I'm still here." Jack had had enough. He went door to door asking his neighbors about the house. Every time he was met with hesitation. Some refused to talk. Others just gave vague warnings. Finally, an elderly man at the corner house sighed and gestured for Jack to step inside. "There was a woman who lived there before you," the man explained. "Her name was Evelyn. She was different, kept to herself, always watching from her windows. Folks around here avoided her." Jack leaned in. "What happened to her?" The old man hesitated. "She vanished. One day she was just gone. No one saw her leave. The house was locked from the inside. No signs of a struggle. It was as if she just disappeared." Jack swallowed hard. "Some folks say she never really left," the old man muttered. "They say she was waiting for someone." Jack left, his skin crawling. That night, he dreamt of Evelyn. He saw her standing in the corner of his bedroom, her face shadowed, whispering something he couldn't understand. Then he woke up to find his closet door slightly open, and inside, the old rusted key sat on the floor right where he had left it on the kitchen counter. Jack couldn't ignore it anymore. The gifts, the noises, the feeling that someone was always watching. It was time to open the basement. He grabbed the old key, took a deep breath, and turned the lock. The door creaked open, revealing a staircase that led into pure darkness. The air was thick, musty. Each step creaked beneath his weight. At the bottom, the faint light from his flashlight revealed something carved into the walls. Words, deep scratches in the wood. "Let me out." Then he saw it. A small hidden door at the far end of the basement. Hands shaking, he reached out and pulled it open. Inside was a tiny, windowless room. And there, sitting in the center, was a single chair. On the chair, a woman's dress neatly folded, and beside it, a rotting handprint on the floor. Then the whispers returned, right behind him. "I'm still here." Jack spun around, but there was no one there. The door slammed shut. The flashlight flickered. The temperature dropped. Then, from the darkness, he saw them, two hollow eyes staring back at him. Evelyn had never left. She had been waiting, and now she wasn't alone anymore. Jack was never seen again. The house was eventually put up for sale, and a new family moved in. A family who, just days later, found a small gift waiting on their doorstep, wrapped in brown paper, with an old rusted key inside. Narrator, voiceover. So, what do you think? Would you have stayed in that house? Or would you have left at the first sign of trouble? Let me know in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss another terrifying tale. Because remember, sometimes the things we can't see are the ones watching us the closest. Until next time, sleep tight.